Right away, MPFL Dakada playing against Abia Warriors, taking place over there in Uyo at Goswell Akpabio Stadium. Ongoing match in the MPFL Match Day 28 between the two teams. Welcome you on the show 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Adeni Achishafe. Well, we'll be looking at so many stories, but quickly, let's look at the fact that today, the final of Europa League is actually coming up between Inter and Frankfurt and also the team called Rangers. Those are the stories we'll be looking at. Joining me to talk sport this evening is Emmanuel Fashemi. Good to have you.
Good evening, Adeni.
Good one. Let's start from the home scene. Dakada versus Abia Warriors. This is a match that will have completed the 10th match for match day 28, but now shifted due to the fact that Akwa Ibom play at home. So they are already playing their own game over there in Uyo. Dakada, Abia Warriors. These two teams, although somehow a bit close.
Very, very close. They are not new to each other. Actually, they met, their first meeting was in 2019, and they've had 4 meetings with Dakada having 2 wins and then 2 draws with no win for Abia Warriors. But this season, so far so good. They are not far from each other on the table. Dakada has 33 points, while Abia Warriors is on 30, just 3 points difference. But it has been a good one for the second team of Akwa Ibom. Akwa United was defending champions last season, and Dakada is complementing their effort in the MPFL, which is it's not an easy thing for you to see 2 clubs from the same state doing well in the MPFL. But for the game that is already going on, both teams know the qualities of each other. And one player for Abia Warriors, Godwin Obaje, who has been around in the MPFL, so he understands the terrain. He has played against the same team before, so he knows most of the players, and it has been a quiet season for me for Abia Warriors, because last season Abia Warriors was languishing at the relegation zone, and this man turned things around for them, and they were able to fight their way out of relegation last season. But this season, they've been quiet. They've been quiet a bit, but they are safe, somehow safe in the league. Parrot will still have quite some number of matches if they can gather some good.
At least they have about 10 matches to go.
10 matches to go. That is 30 points. If they can, out of 30, if they can gather 15 points, it keeps them in the MPFL. But if that 15 points, if they are not guaranteed of that 15 points, then they should be battling the relegation waters. But for the game that is ongoing, well, for me, I think I would tweet towards Dakada to actually win that particular encounter.
Well, Dakada versus Abia Warriors, there is actually ongoing over there in Uyo. Well, the two teams are trying to see how they can at least move up in the ladder of the MPFL Match Day 28. 10 matches to go in the MPFL, and teams are beginning to rooting up to see who actually win this league. Plateau United, Rivers, Rangers, Raymond Stars. The 4 teams are battling to see who will be at the top of the MPFL. Not forgetting Kwara United, Akwa, Eyimba, all making effort to better their lot in the top tier of Nigerian Football League. Good one there. And for tonight, another big one will be coming up, although in the second tier of a UEFA competition called Europa League. Europa League will be involving a German team, Eintracht Frankfurt, versus a Scottish team, Rangers. That Rangers, we have 3 Nigerians. Leon Balogun is there, Joe Ariba, and also Calvin Bassey. The 3 of them will be there for Rangers because of that Nigerian factor. A lot of Nigerians are rooting for Rangers to win that game. But really, Eintracht Frankfurt, this season, they've been fantastic. No one gave them that particular chance to even smell the final. But really, they bamboozled their way to the final, and now they really want to play against Rangers.
Yes, they actually bamboozled their way to the final. That is for Eintracht Frankfurt when they defeated by the almighty Barcelona, because everybody thought Barcelona was going to have an easy ride against Frankfurt, and but the story was the reverse was the case of that story. And for Rangers International, they've been quite brilliant. They came second in their group, and now they are in the final. And for Rangers, they actually played they came up against some good teams in Europe this season, and this is not the first time this is they will meet meet a German opposition. They played against Dortmund. They started with Dortmund. They played against Leipzig. They had to play a very good game against Leipzig. They lost the first leg, and the reverse featured. They actually won that particular encounter on goals aggregate, and now they are meeting another German side in the final. Joe Aribo has been brilliant. He has been the eyes of the tournament this season. For that is for the Europa League, that is for Rangers, and then we have Kostic for Eintracht Frankfurt, who has been fantastic. So it's going to be between Joe Aribo and Kostic. And for Frankfurt, they've not been into any European final for the past 42 years. That is after that the last whistle against West Ham where they won. You had to see the way the fans trooped into the stadium. It was crowded. They were so happy. For 42 years, a team has not graced any European. They've not graced any final of the European competition, whether Champions League or Europa League, and now we have the Conference League, which they are not there. They will be in the Europa League final, but it's a good one for Rangers. Also, digs their sixth European final appearance. That is not for the Champions League. They met this side, Frankfurt. That was in 1960. They played 2 times against each other, and Eintracht Frankfurt has won the 2. It ended 12-4 on aggregate in all the goals they called. Rangers considered 6-6 in both first and second leg. Now, but for tonight's final, it's quite going to be a different ball game, and everybody wants, as a Nigerian, I want Rangers to actually win that particular account, and not just because of the Nigerian. They've actually done very well. They gave up the Scottish Premier League just for this particular Europa League final.
Who told you they gave it up?
Because they actually...
Wait. But to be candid, I don't think they actually gave it up. Performance-wise, Celtic
was better. Celtic only topped them last month, and that was it.
No, don't underrate the performance of Celtic by saying Celtic. They show class.
Yes, Celtic showed class.
No one stopped Rangers from winning the Scottish League. Rangers determined on their own or prefer to go for Europa.
Yeah, they had to look at okay, let's put more strength.
Look at Liverpool. Liverpool, they are pursuing EPL, they are pursuing this and that. They are now they got in 2.
Liverpool is different from Rangers.
No, in Scotland, you think Rangers, you think Celtic, and one more.
Maybe
you understand?
If
you think Scotland,
it's the two teams, Celtic and Rangers. But I think the way Rangers actually played in Europa League, some of their games they play like a wounded lion. Everybody thought Dortmund would.
That's what I'm saying. They should play like wounded lion in the Scottish League.
but this is one of the second tier of a European tournament, which they won this title at all costs. Gerrard started it. Many would have wished if it was Gerrard who's there, but Van Bronckhorst came in and took over, and the man was fantastic en route to the final. I was my surprise was the game against Leipzig. I thought Rangers wouldn't even be in the final after they lost the first leg, but they turned things around in the reverse feature, and now they are in the final. Congratulations to them, and my congratulations will come again when they will leave that trophy tonight.
We wait to see if that will actually happen, even though you'll be advocating for them dropping the league for Celtic. Celtic did a wonderful job. Well, just to at least add some spice to 360 Sport, we've been talking Europa Cup finals. It will be coming up between Eintracht Frankfurt of Germany and Rangers FC over there in Scotland, where we have 3 Nigerians. They will be vying for honors tonight. Who wins that league? Well, we wait. Now, we quickly look at 2 transfer stories before we talk basketball. But now let's talk about some Nigerians, 2 Nigerians now. Let's start from RB Leipzig. They actually want, that's the player. They own their player called Ademola Lookman. But right now, he was loaned to Leicester City. But Leicester will have to cover at least £14 million to make that deal permanent. If they want to get Ademola Lookman on a permanent basis, they just have to make him at least an offer of £14 million coming from RB Leipzig right now, offering that player who has been on loan with Leicester City. And we also talk about another Nigerian. This time around, it has to do with Emmanuel Dennis. West Ham United wants Nigerian striker Emmanuel Dennis from Watford. Watford right now, they relegated from the English Premier League, and the young man will want to stay with them. Well, offers are beginning to at least come in for him. Well, West Ham United, the pride of London, as some people call them, while you have Chelsea, you have Arsenal, and Tottenham all spoiled in London. But really, West Ham United, we know what they've done this season, and the man at the Call of Affairs they are talking about, David Moyes, is looking at the Nigerian, Emmanuel Dennis, to come to West Ham to add more spice. Briefly, Emmanuel.
My advice for Emmanuel Dennis is he just, if that day comes through, then he should just welcome him with his two hands and go to West Ham. I actually want to see him play in the EPL, not in the Championship. And he has been fantastic for Watford. He scored some quite number of goals, but his goals couldn't help them. At some point, Roy Hodgson didn't allow him to come to answer the call-up for the Super Eagles just because of his exploits.
And that also caused a lot of Nigerians were happy that
a lot of Nigerians really say, okay, God don't catch him. But overall, he should go to West Ham, let him remain in England. And for Ademola Lookman, when he came in to Leicester City, he was not really fantastic. With some of the games I saw him play, he was not the Ademola Lookman I saw in Leipzig. But if Brendan Rodgers can turn things around for him, then let him say, we actually want to see all our players play in English Premier League.
Good one there. We've been seeing a lot of Nigerian footballers doing well over there in Europe and even across. Good one. Ademola Lookman and Emmanuel Dennis being pursued by this club, West Ham, Leicester, and that would be nice if they can come to the English Premier League. We've been talking with Emmanuel Fashemi about EPL match. Well, not forgetting the fact that we talk about Europa Cup final coming up tonight. Good one. It's good to have you on the show.
It's always been my pleasure.
Let's go on a short break. At least let's talk some basketball. NBA series, we have you for you very soon. Just to let us have a feel of of basketball. They are Rivers Hooper celebrating winning the basketball league here in Nigeria. Well, we have to talk NBA now. Matches have been a big one for the NBA playoff series. You have teams Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, all playing in the NBA playoff. But we have to talk about it because a lot of people love dunk and slam sport. That's why our sheriff is here. Let's talk some basketball. Awa, good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adeni.
Good. Let's start with the NBA playoff series, Western Conference, Eastern Conference. We have teams that are playing semi-finals. It has been a shocking one for defending champion Milwaukee Bucks being bundled out. But, well, that's sport at times. We can never say. But from the way it is so far, let's start with the NBA playoff series, the semi-finals, where there's some result where there's some teams played. Then Miami Heat, all the teams are played. Looking at this, Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers, Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks, and you have Memphis Grizzlies also playing before they qualify for the coming out from the Eastern and Western Conference. Having you there, Sheriff.
Okay, thanks for having me once more, Adeni. For the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers, I feel like it was a good game. You know, Joel Embiid, the top player on that team for the Philadelphia 76ers, had to undergo a surgery on his face, an orbital contusion. I think he broke a bone on his face, so he had to leave. He didn't start with them on that series, so it was a top for the Miami Heat. I think they were up 2-0, and then he had to return. And when he returned, I think then it was shifted down to the Philadelphia 76ers home. That was where they continued playing. And on his return, he was able to give them the win on the first game. That's game 3 after his return. He won that game for them, performing very well. We also have to give thumbs up to other supporting crew team members like Maxey, and I didn't really see much of James Harden, I must say. James Harden didn't really come true for them. I feel like he folded up too early on the series, and we already had like very high expectations for James Harden, but we didn't really see that much of James Harden. So Joel Embiid was able to take them through game 3, game 4, and when he got to game 5, the Miami Heat had that blowout win. And on game 6, where they actually counted for the Philadelphia Sixers to have a comeback, Joel Embiid tried. He played like 42 minutes, and he was able to score from 20 points. We can understand he had to max up to play the game. But then James Harden played about 43 minutes, and he only scored 11 points. Why would you be a superstar and you play like that? So I feel like James Harden has to take the fall for that one. They had like high expectations for him to come to that team and deliver, and he didn't do that. And you know how this team sports works. Most of the time, the blame goes back to the coach. And now I feel like Doc Rivers will be the one to take most of those blames. So then that's it for the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. So it was a good one for the Miami Heat. Well done to them.
Now, when you look at the way it's going right now in the Western and Eastern Conference, a lot of people are already looking at this could actually go Golden State Warriors against maybe Celtic or thereabout.
Finally, right?
Yes.
Yes, but right now you can't really downplay what Luka Doncic can do with the Dallas Mavericks. You see what happened with.
He has been outstanding.
You saw what happened with the Phoenix Suns. Those guys were the number one seed on that Western Conference, and Luka Doncic was able to body them. He outsmarted them like the whole team. He was really outstanding on the series. So he was able to get the win for the Memphis Grizzlies. And let's see what happens between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors, although I'll be tipping the Golden State Warriors to win that one. So
why? Because of Curry or what?
Luka Doncic can be unstoppable. He can do Luka Doncic stuff. But then when you have to go against players like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, you have a bunch of snipers on that team. So even if they're not able to catch their rhythm at some point in time in the game, they can always pick up at some other point in time in the series. So I think I'll be tipping the Golden State Warriors to win that matchup, although it's not going to come easy for them. It's going to be a difficult one. But I expect them, with the experience they have over time in the playoffs and even winning championship, I expect them to advance to the finals. Yes.
Now, let's look at Eastern Conference. Well, Celtic this season is really, for me, they've been very fantastic.
Yeah, you remember the last time we were here, I told you the Celtics was going to win the the Bucks. But I think the Bucks actually did outstandingly well because
maybe
I didn't
because
even
of those
expect them to.
players that could not mix.
Yeah, you know, Middleton was not able to come and help Giannis on this. So it was basically Giannis and Drew Holiday to actually carry the team. So for them to even go down to a game 7, I think we should applaud them for that performance.
But for a defending champion, you know, a lot of people were looking at, oh, this team, the way they go in, Gianni, we know what he can do, taking that entire team on his shoulder towards going to face Boston. But Boston suddenly seems to they have what it takes to gun them down, which they did.
Yes, the Boston Celtics has been really defensive. They've been outstanding this playoffs. If you watch the way they play, the way they flow the ball, the way the rotation, the way they call their plays, we actually know they can defend Giannis. You can't stop him completely, but you can actually play him a box one that can actually limit the way he scores. But then I feel like we still need to applaud the Bucks because Giannis didn't have Chris Middleton. That's like their number 2 top scorer on that team. So he had to carry the load on his head alone, and just having Drew Holiday to make it happen for him. And he was able to push the game down to game 7. So it's not easy. You have the Celtics having their full squad there. So I feel like the Bucks actually tried. Yes, they are the defending champions, but the Celtics was a handful. I actually thought the game would be over by game 5.
Now, before I let you go, those will be talking sports, maybe on the weekend, talking about basketball. But a lot of people love NBA. Yes, we have our own in Nigeria too, although issues here and there. Hopefully, everything will get better. Who are you tipping
to win the ring this year? It's going to be Golden State and probably Celtics. It's not an easy call.
Now, if it's going to be Boston Celtic.
If it's going to be Boston Celtics versus Golden State, it's not going to be an easy call, but I feel like the Golden State has a lot of championship experience, so I'll be tipping them, but it's not like I will say 100% they will get that win, yes.
Hopefully, we're going to at least, let's see who wins this year. It's been a tough one. And the NBA playoff series, we've been talking with our Sheriff, who has been at least giving us, they call it downloading, has been downloading us some names from the NBA playoff there. Good one. We've been at least the Duncan Slam sport. A lot of people love basketball on the street everywhere. You see people playing basketball, and we have to talk about NBA playoff series. Good one there, Awa. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on Smart Adeni.
Yes, our time is up. We have to go now. I am Adeni Ajishafe. Thanks for watching.